Hi guys, this is Maki from Double Stop Music. Today I'm going to show you maybe the single most useful thing in this entire series, how to get the best possible sound out of your instrument. The equation is actually pretty simple. It's more resonance equals better sound. So all we have to do is maximize our resonance whenever we play. So building on the concepts from the last video, we're going to do 3 exercises and use a big rich sound to figure out how to pull as much resonance or overtones out of our instrument and find its full potential. Once you do that, it'll be a lot easier to look for these overtones in softer dynamics and colors. Let's get started. If you ask people what body part they think the bow stroke originates from, most might point to the upper arm or the shoulder somewhere, but the foundation of your bow stroke needs to come from the upper back. Try once putting your left hand around here where the arm meets the shoulder and just swing your right arm back and forth, kind of like a bow stroke. And then move your hand to the middle of your chest, and this time visualize your arm starting from your sternum all the way out and swing from there instead. You'll notice that the swing feels much more massive and consistent. And you can see how this would translate into a much more powerful and smooth stroke. Now imagine that there is a set of 2 huge glass doors in front of you, like at a high-end mall. Grab the handles and pull those heavy doors open, like when you row. If you do this and the doors seem heavy enough, you'll notice that your shoulder blades or your scapulae activate. And this is where the bow stroke needs to come from. Now, once you get used to that, try pulling the right arm to the right while leaving the left arm pulling that door open, like you imagined earlier, and try to get both sides of your shoulder blades to move in a similar fashion, so you're activating the same muscles. Now try bowing on the cello, making sure the motion originates from the upper back, keeping the entire arm passive, but tilting and supporting as necessary to keep the arm weight into the string. It's almost as if the upper back is the locomotive. These are the train cars, and this is the caboose. On the up bow, just remember to deflate the balloon underneath your arm that it's resting on, and you can also mind the scapula, feel how it returns to its original position. Make sure you're really comfortable with the previous video before you do this. What you're going to do is take a reasonably simple lyrical passage from your repertoire and try it with the bow right up against the bridge, with your entire arm weight sinking into the string, and with a really slow bow. You're going to look for the friction that's being produced between the string and the hair. You want to feel like it's getting really hot and sparks are about to fly out. And it's this resistance against the string, against the bow, that you're going to try to remember the feeling of. Janos Starker used to say, you want to try spreading peanut butter on toast rather than melted butter on toast. Try to avoid getting the bow to skate or skid across the string. You'll notice the resistance sort of cuts out when that happens. And cracking and crunching are totally fine here. It actually is probably a good thing because it means you're using a lot of bow weight. Next, try the passage again with the bow 1 notch back from the bridge. When I say notch, I mean like 2 millimeters maybe. The elbow ever so slightly lighter, using a little bit more bow speed. What you're going to do is look for the same amount of resistance you had here that you had coming against the bow when it was right up against the bridge. that's comfortable, one more notch back, one notch lighter, one notch faster. Always remember to bow from the back and try to let the bow not skid across the string. Depending on the passage you choose and the string you're playing on, it'll take a few more or maybe none at all notches back to start to hear the cello bloom. So let's try one more. So for this passage, it's probably right here for me. So you can start to hear how the cello is starting to open up, and that's where your good sound lies, because the resonance is starting to bloom. So we've reached a point where the sound is pretty big, but it's still a little bit strident. So now we're going to polish it up and get the resonance to bloom even more, so we have a nice, rich, round sound instead. There's a certain amount of arm weight that's required to start the string, but after that happens, it doesn't take that same amount of weight to continue the sound. It's actually too much. Any excess arm weight after activating the string is going to actually dampen the sound. So what you want to do is convert some of this downward weight into sideways energy. Take a note from the previous passage you just did, pick a contact point and don't move from it, and just bow back and forth after you pick a note. And as you do it, see if you can gradually lighten the elbow and increase the bow speed, and see how far you can get. There's going to be a line where if you cross it, the bow's going to skid because you're too light or too fast. Right before that line, that border, is generally where the blooming of the cello lies. That's the sweet spot you're going to look for. Visualize as you let the cello bloom. Visualize the sound sort of spinning out of the cello in a spiral into the corners of the room. This is what we call spinning the sound. If I just stop the bow, you hear that lingering resonance coming from the F holes? That's resonance. Those are the overtones that we're looking for. Because this is a series about the bow, I didn't really cover other ways to obtain resonance, but I'm going to throw in two because they're so important. One is vibrato. The way we use vibrato is really important in how much bloom the cello gets. You want generally usually a wider, richer vibrato at a certain speed or above is going to allow the cello to bloom even more. So you can hear if I just... It's a decent amount of bloom, but if I add vibrato... You can already hear the cello starting to open up more. The second thing is intonation. If you play perfectly in tune with your cello, you're going to get something called sympathetic resonance, which is, you can see, if I play a perfectly in tune C, my C string vibrates along with it, and that's increased resonance and overtones. So varying results depending on which pitches you play, but even pitches that aren't directly correlating to your open strings will resonate with them. So you can also use intonation as a way to get resonance. So that's it for today. I hope you got some things out of it, and let me know how things go if I missed anything. Let me know in the comments and I'll try to respond. Thanks as always.